people have been waiting for years for stuff to happen and waiting for a while for things to happen. And then all of a sudden, you're not getting the answers that you're looking for. You're not getting what you need in order to keep going. And I just wanted to say, if that is you this morning, this is what you need to hear. If you find yourself stuck, how do you become unstuck? How do you progress and move forward within the age that you're in? Some people have been praying, and you're like, Harriet, I've been praying forever and I can't get an answer to my prayer. And you just want to know what on earth is going on. I mean, I've been praying and praying and praying, and you're not getting an answer. You've been asking for things to happen and it's not happening. And you want to know what's going on. People, instead, for some people, for some of us, it seems to get worse. The more you pray, the more you act positive, the more you believe. Because today's world is filled with fake positives. You know what I call fake positives? You know what those are? People who tell you, man, if you're just positive all the time, and if you just send out positive vibes into the universe, man, everything is going to be okay. And it's not working. That didn't work either. You tried that. So I call that a fake positive, because that wasn't really positive vibes, right? People tell you that you don't work hard enough. Good morning. And you're like, seriously? How many more hours do you want me to work there? 24 hours in a day. I already work 18 hours in a day. So what more do you want me to do? Right? There are those questions, right? People say, well, I did everything right. Right. I exercised. I didn't do this. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Yet I went to the doctor and still got a bad diagnosis. What do you do? Right? People say, I tried everything for my marriage to work. I did everything I could so my marriage would work. I stayed home. I went to work. I didn't cheat. I didn't even look at someone else. I did everything. And yet at the end of the day, my spouse still walked out on me. Some people say I did everything with my children. I took care of them. I raised them. I sent them to the best schools. I gave them the best of everything. And my child still ended up being strung out on drugs, strung out on alcohol, ends up living in a commune and can't make a go of it. What do you do? Right? Questions that need answers, right? People say, I went to college. I got my degree. Some people went and got 2 advanced degrees. They got a master's degree and then they got a doctoral degree. And you still are not being taken seriously in the field that you're in. You still can't advance. So what next? What else am I supposed to do? I can tell you the answer to that one real quick. That sounds like racism to me, right? And yet people say, but that's what they told us to do. They told us if we went to school and got educated and got more education, then that would be the answer. And you still can't get the answer. Right? And then you have all these other offerings. I mean, I was on YouTube and something popped up on my feed a couple of days ago after my broadcast ended up on Friday. And this woman was offering a masterclass. I kid you not. She has over 321,000 views on YouTube from her offering a masterclass. I listened to it for 7 minutes. I still don't know what her masterclass is in, but she has 321,000 views. And I said to myself, people are looking for an answer and they're hoping somewhere in her diatribe and her dialogue, she has an answer. But I couldn't tell after 7 minutes what was her masterclass in. She still didn't tell me, after this class, you are going to be able to. But she's offering a masterclass that you have to subscribe to, but it got 321,000 views. I'm going to keep still. I'm going to keep still. I'm going to keep still. You still are looking, even after that, you're still looking for answers. Do you remember some years ago, Robin Williams, who killed himself, right? And everybody was like, oh my God, he's a famous actor. He has won Oscars. He's made a lot of money. Why would he kill himself? Well, it turns out he was in depression. He was married the second time around. When the first marriage ended, apparently he did not recover from the depression. But he married again a second time, probably in the hopes that it would change the way he felt. And for some people, that was a wake-up call to realize that depression is real and that we needed to wake up because something else could be going on, right? And no matter what the frontage is, the projected appearances that we project, something else could be wrong. What is happening to all of us? It's the answer is very simple. It is what it is. We don't want to confront it. We don't want to face it because that answer sounds so simple that it just could not be the answer we're looking for. But yet it is. We have put our faith in the wrong things. We have put our faith in the wrong places, in the wrong spaces. Searching for the deepest answers, we have placed them in places where we're not. The second thing is we have not submitted ourselves to the process. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, they used to tell us to wait. They used to tell us that things take time, and we were willing to. We understood that there was a process. Today, in our microwave generation, we think that everything has to be instantaneous. We don't apply ourselves to the process. We don't let the process become the master. Instead, we want to be masters. And in trying to be masters of our destiny, we mess up. We marry the wrong persons. Invariably, when your marriage starts sucking, right? And you did everything, you married the wrong person. It got to a point where there's this fork in the road now that you can't get any further from. Sometimes we even go to school and study the wrong things. We don't look at life and do an investigation. We just like, let's just go get a 4-year degree. And you get a 4-year degree in the humanities, but it's not specific. How are you going to apply that 4-year degree to anything out there that is in the job market? What are the jobs available in today? Technology. But how many students are getting degrees in technology? If you were to go to China, for instance, guess what they're offering degrees in? And guess what people are taking degrees in? Technology. If you went to Pakistan or India or somewhere in South Asia, guess what the degree concentrations are in? Technology. That's why we are importing talent. And that's why they're coming to get our jobs, because they're trained in where the jobs are. But we're still clinging to those old situations and going to school and getting degrees in subjects that are never going to reap a job. So you end up saddled with student loan, right? Because you can't get a job that's going to pay you at a rate that you can live. And then you end up getting married to someone you probably made a hasty decision because you have to move out of your parents' home. And you end up getting married and you're saddled with a mountain of debt that is irretrievable and insurmountable. That's the answer for that. Yeah? Okay. Then you say, well, I did all the right things. How is it that I'm not getting the answer that I want? Process and patience. That's what that is. You will win, but it's going to take some time. And you say, but Harriet, I ate well. I did everything that I could. I ate well. I went to the doctor. I jogged. I went vegan. I didn't do this and I didn't do that. What happened? Process and time. The season of your life has changed and you enter a different season. There was a season for you to be healthy and live as a paragon of health. And then there comes another season when your time is up. That's all that it is. But we don't want to accept that because we want to live forever. We want to live forever. We want to live gloriously. My thing is, if I'm going to live long, I want to live a healthy life and a good quality of life. But I accept that there will come a time when no matter what I have done, my body is organic and it's still going to be subject to the processes of time. It is what it is. A few months ago, I was with a guy and he said, a friend of mine, he says, I'm a black gay man. He likes to remind us all of that, right? And he said one of his best friends was a gym rat. Guy went to gym every day, and all that, and still ended up dropping dead within 4 months of a diagnosis from some sort of cancer. And I said to him, that thing was always in his system. It just slowly eroded his immune system. I said, but it was always there. So no amount of gym was going to stop that process. And he looked shocked. He said, but I thought going to the gym. I said, no, 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 no. If it is already there and it is there growing and slowly eating away, you can go to the gym. The exterior will look good. But if it is in the system, it's already there. So for those of us who we eat right, we do all kinds of stuff, make sure we don't, you have to look at it's a process of time. And you just pray that your time, when it comes, it isn't. A few years ago, I was talking to a guy who's a neurosurgeon, and he was telling me about some breakthroughs in cancer that they had discovered, right? And he told me there's a new pill out on the market that it costs $2,000 per pill per day. So if you need 60 days of this pill, is 60 times $2,000. Fine getting your insurance company to pay for that. And he said the thing with this pill is that it doesn't have the usual after effects. So it doesn't have the usual loss of hair, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and the emaciated look that comes with taking chemotherapy. He said the pills don't have that. And they're very effective, but insurance companies don't want to pay for it because it would prolong life. He said it's an absolute cure. It would get rid of the cancer. And he said to me, he said, here's the thing, Harriet. He said, their research has found that no matter what you do, no matter what kind of lifestyle changes we all make, no matter how much we exercise, no matter how much we eat right, we are also, he said, it's the luck of the draw. Because he says the process, there's so much toxins in the environment and so many toxins that are working in the environment that it is literally impossible. It's the luck of the draw that neither of us gets it. And when I called him and told him about my mom, he said, Harriet, my mother went through the same thing. It's your mom's turn. He said, by the luck of the draw and the grace of God, we are here. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is when you put it all, when you look at the big thing and all these problems that humanity faces, all these problems where people don't know whether they're coming or going right now, one of you watching, somebody is watching, somebody is listening to me who needs an answer today. You've been applying everywhere and you need a job. You need that answer from a job application. Because if you don't get this job, your whole life is going to pass. Your whole life is going to change. One of the most uncomfortable things for me is driving past apartment buildings and seeing people's stuff out on the street. It makes me so uncomfortable. Just on my way here this morning, I saw a man eating out of a garbage can. And I said, Jesus, be a fence around him, provide for him so that he never has to eat from a garbage can. Protect me and mine from never having to do that. And for all the people for whom that is an answer today, Lord, change their situation. Just now, just about less than an hour ago, just driving here, I saw that. And it had to make me think. You see what I'm saying? I had to think. So these are the problems. Some of you are waiting for a big change. You're waiting for a promotion. You're waiting for a lawsuit to end. What is and you're like, I've been praying. I've been doing everything right. Some of you are waiting for someone to propose. And you're like, I've done everything right. I've become superwoman. I've done all the skedaddles and all the stuff. And he still won't propose. Maybe he's not the one. But if you feel like he's the one, then you probably are going to have to wait. When I was growing up, they used to say that good things come to those who wait. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. We need an answer. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to believe. And we're going to continue to apply faith and ask yourself, where has my faith been applied? Where is my faith? What am I believing in? And if you're doing the right thing, don't quit. Don't give up. Keep doing it anyhow. Even if they gave you a diagnosis for cancer, you say, oh my God, I still had everything right and it still happened. You know what you do? Still eat right anyway. It's not over until it's over. So until they call it, still eat right anyway. If you're still doing the right thing and he hasn't proposed or she hasn't changed your corner, still do the right thing anyway. It's building you up and building your character. It's not about him or her, it's about you. Even if you went to school and you graduated, I heard a story just yesterday. A young black man, has 2 degrees, went to school to study journalism, worked for the Chicago Sun. Yeah, I'm going to call them out. They're racist. And he went to his supervisor because he was getting work that unpaid interns were getting, which, as we know, is code for about to be fired. And he went to his supervisor and said, unless I'm getting work that the unpaid interns are getting, can I be exposed to the real work of journalists? He was fired for being confrontational. That's code for racism. Now you have someone who went to school, did the right thing, is trying to be right and do right, and yet still is confronted by this demon of racism, this endemic, systemic, institutionalized racism. This is what the problem is, folks. The problem is this. If that is the problem, then we got to work through it. We're still going to get up, go to school. You're still going to apply for every job that qualifies you based on your degree specification, based on your degree qualification, and you're going to still show up and you're going to still apply. Do not quit and do not give up. Just because one say it's over doesn't mean all the doors are shut. It just means that one door is shut. It doesn't mean all other doors are shut. Sometimes what we do is we focus in on one thing. We spend our attention and look at the one thing. And if this one thing doesn't work, if this one person does not turn around and love us and return the affection to us, then it's all over. And you live in misery, confounded misery, when there is somebody else who is waiting to say, hey, I'm ready. But you can't see him or her because you're focused on this one person. Get up out of that and let that go. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you got to learn to let things go. Come on. Sometimes you got to learn to let it go. You might think this is the only job for you, and this job validates your training and your experience. And so you're clinging to it with everything that you have, and the job is gone. Let it go. There are better things in store for you. You have your whole life ahead of you. I'm in my 50s, and frankly, friends, I tell you the honest truth, as far as I'm concerned, my whole life is ahead of me. I never say for the rest of my days. I said all my days. Come on, say it. All my days, I will live a joyful life. I will live a prosperous life. I will live a successful life. All my days. Come on, people, rise up. Say all my days. If you woke up this morning and the person you woke up next to is not the one you wanted, or you woke up and you said, Lord, I spent another Saturday night alone. I spent another Friday night alone because I'm waiting for the right person. I don't want to make any more mistakes. I don't want to take on to me people who shouldn't be in my life. Come on, say all my days, I'm going to live joyfully and prosperously, and I'm going to live happily. Come on, all my days, despite the disappointments, despite all this stuff. So they didn't give you the position because they don't like your color. They didn't give you the position because they didn't like the color of your eyes. They didn't like the color of your skin. They didn't like the color of your hair. Good Lord. They didn't even like how you sounded. So what? All my days, I'm going to live prosperously. I'm going to live joyously. The Bible says very clearly that the devil has power over the air. That means he has the power down here. It doesn't mean that there is not going to be an intersection when God's power that comes from heaven comes down and intersects in the earth. That's what the prayer means when it says, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Come on now. From now on, your prayer is going to be, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. At some point, the will of God from heaven is going to come and intersect with the will of God on this earth. And the devil will have to recede and stand back and watch what God does in your life. Wait for it. It's good. Wait for the right person. It's worth it. Some Sunday morning, you're going to wake up and you go down to the kitchen to make yourself a cup of coffee, and you're going to smile because it's the right person. Hallelujah, you have in your house the right person by your side. It is worth it. Say it's worth it. The right job. It is worth it. The right job that gives you the fulfillment that you want, that validates your education, that validates you and makes you feel that it was worth it to suffer through 4 years of college. It is worth it. Let's face it. Going to college after 4 years is the culmination of our entire schooling. We went through grade school, we went through middle school, we went through high school, then culminate in a college education. That's what that is. It is unfair, all you employers out there who are hiring people based on color and filling quotas for people based on color, but you're not giving the truly qualified people. So you have to hire a black person to fulfill some law, that's some federal law, and then you give them a hard time to get them out so that you can put your friend in place. Come on, cut it out. It's called racism. Cut it out. It's being perpetuated even to this day by people who are young, by people who are millennials. You're still doing it. It's not your grandfather's age. It's not your father's age. This is the age when everybody is entitled to what they have worked hard for. Give it to them. Give it up. Because if you won't do it, they will remove you from that position. And the same power that comes from heaven will intersect and move them out of the way so you can get some relief. Do I have a witness? I have a witness. Come on now. It's never over. It's not over. It's not over. Say it's not over. It's not over. It cannot be over. You haven't seen the end of it yet. I don't care if they gave you a cancer diagnosis last night. You woke up this morning, you're still breathing. Well, keep on working. Keep on pushing. Keep on taking the meds. Keep on eating right. It ain't over till it's over. Do you hear what I'm saying? So don't quit. Don't quit. Still do what you're doing. I know it's taking years. For some of us, it's years. It's 5 years. It's been 10 years. It's been 15 years. It's been 20 years. Do not quit. Do not give up. Oftentimes we hear about successful people's stories and we think for some reason they make light of the struggles they went through. Yeah. They make it sound like it was an instantaneous thing and it happened overnight. The truth of the matter is it was never. You know, we look at Bill Gates, and Bill Gates made money in his 20s. And we said, well, he was a white man. He came from an upper middle class background. So it was easy for him to be launched. But you know what? We never really saw that he had started coding from he was 8 or 9 or 10 years old. We never knew that about him. So, of course, by the time he's in his 20s, he had been doing it all his life. Success was just going to be a matter of time for him because he was in the right place. He had the right color. Yeah, come on, he was white, right? And he had the right means. So he was being pushed by a society that was prepared to give him the push and make him successful. But he had started really early. So it wasn't overnight. It wasn't like he woke up and he was 25, 26 years old and they just handed him Microsoft and say, here's your company. No, he paid the price too. He lived in an apartment with 8 other people in Arizona to get it off the ground. They slept and ate together in an apartment. You imagine 8 people living in an apartment and everybody smell musty? And the fights over one slice of pizza? Come on now. Right? Talk about it. The theory of relativity. We stop looking at the whole picture and we look at just parts of it. Sometimes we're so focused on the end goal, we forget that it's the whole journey that is the winner. It's the whole journey. Life is a journey, baby. It's not just the destination. It's the journey that makes it. When you get to the destination, you ought to be like Jeff Bezos. You see how that dude smiles? That dude smiles. You ever seen his smile? He's so self-fulfilled. Why? He got to his destination. And he's also smiling because he makes like $164 million a day. So that helps, right? How many lifetimes will his children have to live for the next what? He has like about 500 generations, about 500 years before they run out of money, right? Maybe about 150 years, 200 years before they run out of money. How many generations is that? That's about 5 generations. Yeah? Imagine that. Imagine that. So you see, what I'm saying is you can't quit. When he was coming up and he tried to tell people about selling books online, at that time, Barnes & Noble was a monolith. You know, there was a mom and pop bookstore on every corner. Can you imagine what people said to him? Can you imagine? What did they say to him? Can't be done. Will never be done. But he had a dream that people would eventually buy books online. And eventually, Online would be a marketplace. You just needed to create the image. People look at the image. It will be accessible to them via computer, and then they will choose what they want. The rest, as they say, is history. Do you see why you can't give up? What if the idea that you are working on is the next great thing, the next great miracle, the next thing that is going to amaze us? Look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was the son of a Russian, of a Syrian immigrant. The guys who started Google, one of them, Sergey is a Russian refugee, arrived here, he and his parents. What if you are the answer that we're all looking for? What if you have an idea that will help? Think about it. Years ago, I was speaking somewhere about human trafficking. And as I started telling my story at the intersection of immigration and human trafficking, a woman in the audience burst into a loud wail. Afterwards, when she came up to my table when I had been finished speaking, she said that was her story and she lived it for 23 years and she never told anybody. And to hear me say it was saying the story. What if I had quit and had never told my story, never wrote a book, never set up the Exodus Foundation? How would she have obtained her deliverance? How would she have obtained what she wanted? Her freedom to be, that freedom that broke that that thing in her, that sadness, that place where she held all that in together. How can you quit and give up? You can't. If you haven't met the right person yet, don't quit. There's 7 billion of us on the planet. There's someone for you. Don't quit. Don't give up. Because someone left, okay, bye bye. Say ta ta, right? Don't say tell them see you. Just say ta ta. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Sometimes people need to leave our lives because they come in for a reason and a season. And when it's done, just let it go, right? What if someone died whom you didn't want to die? That happens to all of us. I can't begin to tell you. I never thought I could experience loss like the loss of my mother. She was a friend, a confidant, and a mother. She was my safety net. And guess what? She had to go. She didn't have any control over that. She couldn't stop it. She had to go. Life goes on. So if they fired you yesterday or they fired you on Friday and you're wondering, what are you going to do on Monday? Put all that aside, get a pen and paper out, and start writing out what you have done. Don't quit, right? Are you going to just give up? Are you going to give up? No, you're not. Don't quit. Just because someone said that they are going to, right? Just because someone said that they are going to quit, don't give up. Don't quit. Keep on keeping on. Don't quit. Don't give up. Why? Because they left you. Why? Because the doctor told you. Sometimes that you listen to the doctor and you internalize what the doctor says because the doctor has on a white coat and the doctor looks like someone in authority. So you're going to overcome everything that you think you know, all the research you've done, and you're going to listen to what the doctor says. And you're going to take that to be the gospel truth. But what about how you feel inside of your heart? Are you going to fight that disease? Boy, if you're going to go out, you got to make up in your mind, I'm going to fight it to the day I leave here. I am one of those persons who would be fighting against that thing. Who, me? Hell no. I'm not going to just sit back and say, oh, woe is me. I'm like, I still have years to live. I still have things to do that I haven't done yet. I mean, right until the last minute, I'll still have a checklist going on like, hey, hold up, don't come here yet. I got stuff to do. Don't even think about it. That's my attitude to the end of it. Heck to the no, right? And that's how you have to look at it. Let me tell you something. I came to this country because I was fleeing from violence in my home. and I could not obtain justice. I couldn't even get a restraining order against the man who was beating me up. And everybody around me said, "You're going to have to go to America," right? And I came to America. And when I came to America, I walked into a church service and I discovered my purpose. And I had a few dreams after that in which they told me to write 3 books and that every book would be sold. And I never understood it. I just took it by faith that it is what it is. And I asked myself, I'm like, wait a minute, write a book. I don't know anybody back home. I know people. I could get that done. How am I going to do it here? I don't know anybody. And then I'm going to be on radio and television. Well, I speak funny. They're not going to understand me. I learned that none of that mattered. I sat down and I started writing the book. So I started figuring out, how do you get a book published? How do you get the word out? I kept saying that to myself. How do I get the word out? How do I get the word out? How will people know where this is? And I was shy at first, because the books are going to tell my story. And I didn't want to share that with the public. I didn't want people to know that that's what I lived through and that's what I went through. But slowly but surely, the wheels began turning, and it took a process of time. If I thought that it was going to happen by the time I was 31 or 32, I was in for a shock. 33 came, 34 came, 35 came. Whoa, it's getting later and later. And then, just as I was ready to say, maybe this was a fluke, boom, 8 years after that, guess what? Published my first book, Visions. I could not believe it. What I had been trying to do in 8 years in one place never happened till I stepped right into where I should be. Came to Detroit, lived in my mother's house. In her basement, I sat down there and edited that book. And before you know it, guess what? The adversity hit me so hard. I got it done. I was in the right place at the right time. There is a time and a place for everything under the sun, and your time and your place and your season will come. Keep working at it. Keep fine tuning it. Keep doing it. Don't quit. Don't give up. Yes, I know it hurts. We're human. There is a place inside of us that is still human. No matter what happens, we're still going to hurt from rejection, whether the rejection comes from a man or a woman who walked out and left us, whether the rejection comes from somebody sitting behind a desk and telling us to give up our foundations, give up your income, give up your occupation, give up what makes you feel human and can pay your bills at the end of the day. It's still rejection, no matter what basis it comes on. Whether the rejection is racist based, or whether the rejection comes from some kind of classism, or whether the rejection just comes from people just not liking you for whatever reason they don't, it is still rejection. All of us have to deal with rejection. All of us go through moments and seasons when we question ourselves. We question, why am I doing this? Why do I do this? Many of you who are called, many of you who have a purpose, have been asking yourselves why I am going through the stuff that I'm going through. Hear me clearly today. Do not quit. Do not give up. The Bible says in Genesis 50:20, the devil meant it for evil. You meant it for evil, but God's going to turn it around for your good to save many people alive. They took my clothes in November 2016. They thought that it was going to make me or break me and I was going to become crazy or whatever. They even took it further than that. They did more than they should have done. But you know what it did? It became fuel to the fire that made me run to go beg people for a house, to set up a shelter, to put people who were disadvantaged. So when people came to me and told me how their family members put them out on the street at 8 years old to sell their bodies so he could eat and live, I got it. It was clear to me. And I said, oh, I get it now. I get it. I didn't turn my back. I took the boots off my feet, walk barefoot to my car so somebody else could wear shoes, took clothes off my back and gave it to people because now I understood. You can't give up. Do you hear me? You cannot quit. You're searching for an answer. This is your answer. You can't give up. Still get up every day. Still put one foot in the other. Tell yourself, sufficient unto this day. Say it. Sufficient unto this day are the troubles for this day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Have your plans, but don't sit here and say, oh my God, what am I going to do tomorrow? So they say they're going to evict you out of the apartment. And you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do about tomorrow? You're so worried about tomorrow, you can't see the answer that is in front of you. But if you can stop for a moment and think, you will see what you have to do. There's some things in life, my friends, that we have to walk through. Been there, done that, wrote the books about it. Made the video too and wore a t-shirt, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. Right? You can't give up. You can't give up. Years ago, when you think that you give up, you got to think again. In 2015, a man I know, he lives here in town, came to me and said, I'm going to do a film about domestic violence. And I want to read your book because hearing your story inspired me. So I want to do a film. And he read my book to gain some perspective. That film is now called Last Words. It's available on Amazon Fire Stick TV. Yeah, Fire Stick TV. And it's available on Hulu and Amazon Prime, right? Hulu and Amazon Prime. The film is called Last Words. And then in the midst of making the film, he came to me and he said, hey, Miss C, I did a 30-second trailer. I did a 15-minute trailer or something. And he sent it to me to look at. And I called him back and I said, you can't leave me here. I said, you got to make this into a full feature film. You got to do this into a full feature film. Go out and make this a film. He went and made the film. I said, no, it's your story. You write it. That's your gift. Go write the story out that you have inside of you. He went and made the film Last Words. It has won award after award after award. He's now an award-winning filmmaker, homegrown, based in Detroit. His name is Ant Green. I am so proud of him. Words alone cannot express how grateful I am that he stuck to it. He never quit. He never gave up. He held down his full-time job, raised his children, took care of his wife, took care of his family in the midst of it all. And he focused on the prize because he knew he was made for this, right? The film is called Last Words. Go out and watch it on Amazon as well as on Hulu, and it's on Hulu, Amazon, and Netflix, right? Can you believe it? You cannot quit. What if he had quit? And this is a young man who started out making commercials, submitted that Dorito commercials, never got one acceptance. I'm like, don't focus on that. I used to tell him, don't focus on that. Go make the stories. Go learn your craft. Develop your craft. That's what sometimes we have to do. Every time that I go somewhere and it doesn't go my way, I ask myself, what is the learning lesson here? What's the lesson here? What do I need to learn that I haven't learned? Do I need to learn a different kind of lesson? Is it something that I need to do? I ask myself these questions. And then I will get the answers. So I have learned that what I'm fighting now is racism. So I have to learn how to navigate environments where people are intrinsically racist. They have hesitation in dealing with you if you're not white like they look. Come on now, it's the truth. Come on, we're having this frank discussion. It is what it is. They don't know what box to put you in or how to talk to you because they've been socialized not to talk to and engage with you because of color and because of your appearance. So I'm learning. It was something that I never thought I'd have to deal with. Why? Because I thought people just accepted people based on you being a human being. I'm like, really? Do I have to go deal with that? But yes, I had to. Yeah. Think about it. Don't quit. Don't give up. Just because it didn't work your way, the way you thought it would come out at the time when you think it would come out. Because sometimes that's what happens to us. We set a time limit. We tell ourselves that it has to work within this time frame. And the God of the universe, the time is irrelevant to him. There is a time and a place, but the time will come. And like I said, there comes that intersection That intersection, when the time that God has over it overtakes the event and it has to meet at that intersection. That's what happened to me in 2004. Yeah, I got the dream from 1997. You saw what happened? 7 years, baby. Took 7 years. In 2004 was what? The intersection of God's timing and my timing. I thought when I first got the dream in 1997, it certainly would happen before 1997 ended. It would happen before 1998 ended. I tried everything. I got must have been 39 rejection letters from every major ministry in this country, from printers, wouldn't touch it. Came to Detroit. There's one of the printers who said they wouldn't do it. They did it anyhow. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't quit and you can't give up. So if you're sitting there this morning and you're wondering, what is my answer? The answer is you can't quit. You can't give up. You need to clear your mind of everything that you thought you knew so you can have a fresh mind approach, a fresh approach. I remember when I was trying to get visions out, I kid you not, I had to run from Orlando to come to Detroit because I was being beaten within an inch of my life. And finally, I wasn't fighting abuse anymore. My mind was clear. Well, why didn't I get it published in Orlando? I need to get it done here. And I sat there and thought about it. I just reached out to the same publishers. They answered. I said, it's a done deal. Let's do it. My mind was clear, right? You may be sitting in a dorm room and you have to, you're like, well, this is my final year. I don't even know what I'm going to do after college. If I don't get a job before I graduate, I don't know where I'm going to live. I can't go back home. I can't live there. I don't know what I'm going to do. I am saying to you that intersection of your timing will come and the answer will be very clear to you, but you have to keep your faith up. Keep positive. Yes, there are going to be times when you're going to cry. You cry into a mug of tea. Don't cry into liquor. Don't cry with a puff of weed around you, just like, man, I'm just going to chill this out. Think on these things. Think about what you want to do clearly, and the answer will come to you. Yes, your intersection of timing will come. And so, what if you have to go back home? You might just walk back into a very volatile, you say, I don't want to go back to that. That's poverty. Or I don't want to go back to that. That's defeatism. I went to college so I wouldn't be defeated. Change your mindset about it. Sometimes you have to rewrite your story. Just tell yourself that you're in the process. I'm being rewritten. Say it, everybody. I'm being rewritten. My story is not done, but it is just starting over. I'm being rewritten. My name is Harriet Kemick. Please go to my website, harrietkemick.com, as well as go to amazon.com and buy my books. If you're in the East Lansing area, I'll be out there this Wednesday talking about the intersection of human trafficking and immigration. So make sure you come on out to the Toast. We'll post that information in just a few minutes, just before the day's end, and we'll let you know. And for this and more, go to my daily podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, or wherever your favorite podcast platform is, and listen to us as we continue to talk about the subjects that matter. Thank you so much, everybody. My prayers are with you. God go with you. Let the peace of God overshadow you and keep you and give you peace in the name of Jesus. Thanks, everybody. Be blessed.